Hello everyone, welcome back to another Genshin Impact video. My name's ArcRevner and I like to play games. And today we're going to be talking about Abyss Floor 12, Chambers 1 through 3. And I just wanted to quickly say that I actually did it, and I did it with a perfect 9-star clear. This is actually my very first time ever getting a perfect 9-star clear on Abyss Floor 12, and it just happened to be on this very new cycle. So I wanted to quickly go through it and tell you guys how it went, and possibly give you guys some tips and tricks along the way. Now, I want to preface this video and get this out of the way right now, that this is not impressive. I do have all 5-star characters, I have 5-star weapons, so me being able to beat this floor as well as get a 9-star clear isn't anything out of the ordinary for a content creator. However, this is a personal win for me because this is my very first time getting a full perfect 36 stars. I think I'm very good at building characters and making sure that they're up to snuff, making sure that they have all the right artifacts, weapons, etc. to make sure that they're DPSing as much as possible. However, I definitely struggle a little bit more on the technical side of things. I never play perfectly and I do often get hit, so being able to beat and perfectly clear the hardest content in the game was a really big win for me personally, and I wanted to share that with you guys. This is going to be a bit of a longer video, so feel free to grab a snack and a drink. I'm going to be going through each chamber, saying what I did, offering free-to-play options instead of the 5 stars, etc. I'll also try to give some advice on how to take down each enemy, and I've also included all of my current builds for my characters at the end of the video in case anyone is interested or needs help building their characters. If you do end up liking the video or learn anything from it, please leave me a like and comment down below, and consider subscribing. Alright, let's go ahead and jump into it. So this footage is actually from the very first time that I took on floor 12. Actually, my whole 9-star clear came from my first try, even though it did get a little bit rough at the end. And just like any other time, you do get head charged by 2 Geovishets. I typically take a long hard look at who the enemies are going to be on each floor before deciding on what my final team is going to be, and I thought that it would be best if I had a water and a hydro unit so that I could freeze the enemies in place so that I could deal as much damage without having to worry about them stomping all over me. That's why I eventually decided on Ganyu and Childe, because I knew that they were both good DPSs and could switch up and keep the enemy frozen at all times. However, I do know that not everyone is going to have both of these units. If you have at least one, then that's great, and I definitely recommend bringing them. But if not, you can always substitute these characters for characters like Zhongli and Qiqi. Diona is also a good option, and Kaeya is probably the best option for a freeze comp. What I noticed, the main problem isn't necessarily taking them down, it's more not getting stomped on by one of them or both of them at the same time because they constantly attack either at different times or at the same time. There usually aren't a whole lot of moments where neither of them are attacking you. That's another reason why characters like Ganyu and maybe Fischl would be a very good option for this, because you can keep your distance while still dealing consistent damage and making sure that you're safe. Although obviously the main focus of clearing Abyss is to do it as quickly as possible. However, a fast clear doesn't actually mean anything if you don't actually clear it and just get stomped into the dust by an aerial attack, oncoming boulders, fire and electric blasts, etc. Another really strong option is just having major shields that can tank. Having a character like Noelle that can have a strong geo shield or anything that can just make sure that you're safe for a long time is definitely going to be very helpful. You'll see that that's actually a pretty running theme throughout the entirety of floor 12. MiHoYo is really starting to push towards a shield meta, so it's no surprise that we are seeing that we're going to need stronger shields or different ways to keep the enemy from hurting us. Which definitely contributed to why I brought Zhongli. As you can see, he is the best shield in the game. However, characters like Diona, Noelle, Xinyan, and Beidou are also good options if you don't have him. Also, definitely think about investing into Ningguang if you have her, because she is definitely a very strong geo unit, can provide you shields, and is an excellent DPS. As you can see for Chamber 2, I'm rocking Xiao as my main DPS, and then I'm supporting him with both Zhongli and Albedo so that I can get the geo resonance so that I can have stronger shields and do more damage. I also have Jean as a backup to make sure that I'm getting enough energy for Xiao and to provide healing for the whole team. This actually quickly became one of my favorite teams that I have currently, because having the double resonance between both Anemo and Geo means that you can basically take on anything in the game and still hit it neutrally as long as it's not immune to either Geo or Anemo. Alright, and now we're on floor 12, chamber 2. Honestly, this was probably the easiest in terms of the individual chambers. I think that chamber 1 and chamber 3 are much harder. But basically what I decided to do was just to target down one at a time. I started with the Electro Mage because I knew that I could take her down and I wouldn't have to worry about her shield since she doesn't put up one until later on into her attack rotation. So I just try to blast it down as quickly as possible. It's really nice to have an ice member, so like I mentioned, like having like someone like Ganyu, Kea, Diona, Qiqi, basically any member that can break the shield if she manages to get it up. But if she doesn't manage to get it up, all you have to do is make sure that you are blasting her with as much firepower as possible to make sure that she goes down quickly. In my opinion, the Ice Mage is a lot more difficult because the shield that she has is much thicker and it's up about 90% of the time until you break it. If you weren't planning on bringing a Pyro unit, I actually would highly recommend bringing one because I think that it's extremely valuable in breaking that shield. That's why I mainly use Klee for this part of the battle. Although you can get away with using an Electro unit, so if you have Fischl or Qiqi or Beidou, or just someone that can take down that shield, Razor, then that's probably the way to go. But I think that Pyro units just take it down so much faster that it's just worth bringing a character like Xiangling just in your back pocket so you can make sure you can break that shield as quickly as possible so that you can do enough damage to get as many stars as possible. You can also try grouping them up if you have an Anemo character or lure one over to the other, but I think that it's a little bit harder to handle both of them at the same time, so that's why I decided to take them on one at a time. The second half of Chamber 2 is actually pretty interesting because I wouldn't say that it's necessarily very difficult, but it can completely end your run if you're not careful because of those Pyro Fatui agents. They're really notorious for just one-shotting you, especially since they're so high level at floor 12, so I'd be really wary of them. This is actually where I think that having an Anemo character and an Anemo support, like I'm using Jean here and she was really helpful, a character like Sucrose would be great, even a Nemo Traveler, basically anything that can just make sure that you get them all grouped together and constantly knocking them off their feet is a good way to make sure that they don't one-shot you. And again, I think that having my double Geo comp really helped me out because it basically made it so that my shields were stronger and I was hitting harder. And basically anytime that I would have gotten one shot or very close to one shot, I essentially didn't have to worry because my shield was strong enough to at least tank most of the hit. Alright, and now we are here at the final chamber. So these chambers are a little bit tricky. They're straightforward, but it's just that the enemies are so tanky that if you are not able to clear them quickly, then you're going to run into problems. So you really want to be able to deal as much damage as possible, so strong elemental reactions are going to be your best friends here. Also keep in mind that Ruin Guards have a natural resistance to physical attacks, so using a physical DPS like Razor actually won't help you here. So I definitely say go for the elemental reactions, try to freeze them in place so that they can't hurt you, just try to wail on them as quickly as possible. Another tactic is just taking out one at a time. You aren't going to be getting hit nearly as often. You can pour all your efforts into one and then focus on the other if you're having difficulty. But if you're going for a fast clear or your fastest possible clear, you really do want to keep them grouped up so that you can be hitting them both at the same time. It really just depends on if you're trying to clear the floor or if you're trying to get as many stars as possible. Also, as you can see, poor Qiqi bit the dust, but it's okay because we made it to the last chamber and she did her job. Good thing she's a zombie. Alright, and we finally made it to the very end. So this one did get a little bit hairy down the line, and you'll see that in a second, but essentially my main idea was just to keep them grouped up in the center as much as I could so that I could be hitting both of them at the same time. I think that this is a lot more dangerous. I think if you want to go for a clear and you're not worried about getting a lot of stars, keeping them separated is probably the best way to go. But I was, again, trying to get a fast clear, so I kept them pretty close together, was really trying to wail on them with Xiao and Zhongli mainly, and then was just basically using Albedo as an additional damage dealing source, and Jean just to try to keep myself healed. I think that basically any character that you can use as a turret, such as Albedo, Fischl, Xingqiu, like anything that can just give you some additional damage will really help you here. I think that a shield is almost a must if you're trying to go for a fast clear because you just, well, as you'll see in a bit, if you get backed into a corner, it just gets really ugly really quickly, so having a shield can really help you out. Again, I believe that these do have a pretty big resistance to any physical. Oh, and here it was. Yeah, I got backed into a corner. That rotation just can really just mess you up. So if you do see them starting to whirl around like that, just get away as quickly as possible and try to fight from a distance for as long as you can. Alright, and that was it. That was my full 9-star clear. I was really shocked that I was able to do it by first attempt, but I'm obviously really happy about it. However, like I said in the very beginning of the video, this isn't a huge surprise since I am using 5-star characters, I have 5-star weapons, so very obviously this gives me a major handicap in regards to clearing content faster. However, I just wanted to make this video and show it to you guys so that you can know a few other tips and tricks that can help you even if you are using 4-star characters, 4-star weapons. I think that at the end of the day, it matters a lot more about how well you build your characters with what you have and implementing good strategies in order to take down your enemies faster. Obviously, having better equipment and characters, etc. is going to help, but at the end of the day, all of this content is clearable with 4-star characters. I think the biggest takeaways are probably for at least clearing floor 12 from this video should be controlling your enemies, trying to make sure that you have control over the battlefield so that you're not getting curb stomped into the ground. Strong elemental reactions are really key here, and a shield character definitely wouldn't hurt, especially since there is an additional bonus to being shielded if your HP is below a certain threshold. Okay, yeah, I just double checked. So when your HP is below 70%, your attack is increased by 20% and your attack speed is increased by 15%. But if your active character's HP is less than 35% and they are under the protection of a shield, then their crit rate is increased by 20% and their crit damage is increased by 40%. So you can really use this to your advantage. Sometimes healing isn't going to be your best friend, but playing this way is going to be ultimately a lot more risky, but it's going to give you much faster clears if you can pull it off. Alright guys, and that's really it for now. For the remainder of the video, I'm going to be showing you guys what my current builds were for all of the characters when I did clear this last week. Keep in mind I did mess up with Childe. He was supposed to have the Skyward Harp on, but I accidentally had the Black Cliff Warbow equipped on him for whatever reason. Obviously things still worked out, but it could have been a little more optimal in that regard, so his stats aren't completely reflective of what they should be. Also, please don't feel intimidated by seeing these characters. Some of them are C6, some of them are fully maxed out, but I really just wanted to include them in case some people are having a little more difficulty building their characters if they do happen to have any of these 5 stars. If you enjoyed the video, please leave me a like down below, and also leave me a comment. What is your current team for floor 12? Have you made it to floor 12? I'm actually pretty curious to see where people are at. If you find videos like this helpful at all, let me know, and maybe I could do it for more bosses or other content in the game. And if you want to see more videos in general and want to support my channel, please feel free to subscribe. I'd really greatly appreciate it. Oh, also quickly, thank you guys so much for 1,500 subscribers. I really appreciate it. I didn't think that we would make it to this so quickly. Let's go ahead and go for 2,000, and maybe one day we'll make it to 10,000. My upload schedule is a little erratic currently, so feel free to hit that notification bell if you want to make sure that you don't miss my videos. But that's all for now. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video, and I hope to see you guys next time. Alright, best wishes. Bye.